Oh shoot, here we go. What's up, peeps? Hope we're all doing well, having a great morning so far. We got some Valorant drama out there and a great discussion piece as allegedly, reportedly, brought to us by Slasher, also talking with Sean Garrison. The topic, it's a Valorant female pro known as MeL, a very well-known name, not just in the game changer space, but in Valorant as a whole, as a talent, and who knows what her next steps are going to be, especially now. But according to Slasher, well, she apparently was denied trial by some of these tier 1 or at least some other esports organizations and teams in Valorant because at least one of the players on the team didn't want to play with a woman.
It's really good. I think Net could probably IGL if you really wanted to, looking at him. I think MeL, even though she's obviously committed to game changers, I think she could literally play in the main circuit. Like, she's really fucking good. And she's super smart.
I mean, I will say just on that point that from what I understand and what I have heard, MeL has not gotten opportunities to even practice or scrim with any tier 1 teams because every single time that she has approached with her agent to try to make this happen, there has been at least one player on the teams that does not want to play with a woman.
Wait,
this is what I've been told.
There's
and
no
what I
way.
understand.
There's just no way. I don't believe that.
Every single team that she has tried to scrim with at a tier 1 level has refused to try out because there's at least one player on the team that does not want to play with a woman. This is what I was told.
There's no way that that's like what's being said. There's just no way. I don't believe it. I feel like if a player
Why would you
said
not
that,
believe this?
Because if a player said that, they would literally get like reprimanded in some kind of way.
Okay, yeah, but Sean, this is
I've heard of people getting fucking fired in VCT for saying shit behind closed doors. So,
you don't think that this is a reasonable thing that's happening, that a bunch of dudes on all male teams are not wanting to play with a woman, which is absurd. Of course, we both agree it is absurd, but it definitely tracks in terms of like how esports has been historically. It happens in Counter-Strike as well. Like Mimi Shella, who was on that legendary.
Okay, you're speculating that that's what happened though, but there's no way that there's like concrete evidence of that happening.
And at first, when I heard this, and I cut that clip in half, we'll play the second half here shortly. I was on the same page as Sean. You know, I think for some reason Sean was catching some flack here for denying this as a possibility, which is not what he was doing. It was hard for him to believe because I think he was at least hoping with some inkling that this was going to be false, right? And holding these tier 1 players to a higher standard that certainly no one, first of all, would have this thought to not play with a woman simply because she was a woman, but also second, that you would be professional enough and nobody would actually say those words out loud, right? Like surely, if you are an adult in this space, you know better. And that's why when I first heard this, I was like, there's no way. So I don't think Sean meant offense by this. He knows it's a possibility. I think he's simply trying to say, like, how stupid as a pro player would you have to be to not only think that, but then to say it? You put your career at risk if someone wants to name you for having said you don't want to play with anyone who's of equal skill just because they're a woman, you know?
Speculation. I have heard directly that she has tried multiple times.
That's kind of crazy.
To practice with tier 1 teams, and every single time there was at least one player on each team that said that they did not want to play with a woman. And so that she did not even get to the tryout phase.
That's kind of crazy because I know MeL had like offers for pro teams a long time ago. Like a long time ago. She was mentioning me about them. She was like my first round of casting days.
I mean, I only say this because I heard this exact same thing in Counter-Strike. When I was saying Mimi Shella, she was the best female player. I believe it was G2, but before they signed to G2, I forgot the name of the other team, but they won every single championship in the women's league. She was doing great. She was the best player on her team. And when I was speaking to her, she was telling me she couldn't even get tryouts for tier 2 teams or even tier 3 teams for the exact same reason, is that players on those teams did not want to practice with a woman. And that there was no other reason other than the intricacies of not wanting to practice with a woman, which can range from not believing that a woman is good enough to be on the team, not believing that the chemistry is going to be the same, or even as outrageous as, potential feelings that would happen between a player and the woman on the team, and that causing fractured issues. So this isn't even something that I've heard just from Valorant. Even from Counter-Strike, it feels like the best female players in that game have never been able to get an opportunity to even scrim on tier 2 teams for pretty much the same issues.
No, that's why I think what Potter accomplished is so monumental, because I do think that that is a thought in gaming. I'm sure I have never witnessed it, but I definitely could see what you're saying, and that could certainly be a possibility. That sucks that actually happened.
And this, of course, sparked up a lot of people wanting names, a lot of people wanting teams. I'm glad that it was unnamed, because if you can't fully verify this is a very dangerous doubleheader. You guys know the internet right now. You guys are probably riled up right now just hearing the clips. I also want to clarify, Mel, her kind of halfway response and funny jab was hey, how's everyone in your day going so far? Slasher also providing, I would say, some pretty good context after the fact of the situation and all these clips going viral. He provided us a bit more context and information on the situation. Saying, I wanted to clarify what I said on stream. Some of the best women's circuit players in Valorant and CS have not been given opportunities to try out for tier 2 and tier 3 teams, let alone tier 1, for absurd reasons. However, stating this was cause for all times MeL was denied is incorrect. In some scenarios that MeL was unable to trial for teams, it was due to a buyout or other reasons that had zero to do with sexism. Mixed gender esports teams should absolutely be more commonplace than they are now, and I don't want the situation to further us from that reality. We were speculating on the current fee against transfer market, where MeL deserves to be in the conversation with everyone else. There's no good reason why teams, especially at the tier 2 level and in games with a strong female pro scene like CS and Valorant, shouldn't give it a shot. Which I would assume means that not every tier 1 or other tier teams that rejected MeL was because that she was a woman, only saying that some of those teams had at least one player, like you said in the clip, apparently had it. So he's not saying that all of these cases of denial for MeL being trialed to tier 2, tier 1, tier 3 teams, whatever it might be, were because of sexism, but I believe he was saying that some of them were for absurd reasons or for, sexist reasons because she was a woman. I think it's very important to note, though, that for some of those teams who now could be under fire, again, no one was named, no teams were named, and that's good because no one wants to foot the blame of, is one of our players a sexist? That's a big thing to throw out there, but a buyout was possibly a reason, or there maybe were some other valid reasons, which has to be a possibility too, right? I'm sure that not every team that denied her would do it just because she's a woman. I have more faith in these teams and players than that. I would hope that is the case, that it's based off skill, not based off gender. And I don't think that's a crazy hope to have. But it sucks that this is now going to be a conversation piece, hopefully going to be a conversation piece forward, because I do believe that when it comes to these storylines like that of MeL, what she can do in the tier 2, maybe tier 1 scene, well, that's going to have ripple effects, not just for other ladies and women in the scene, but for everybody. That can be an incredible thing for the entire esports scene. I'll throw you back many a years to CSGO. Guys, I've been talking about Giuliano. She's now retired, I believe, last time I covered her. Been bouncing back and forth between retirement, but I believe, I covered her a long time ago. Giuliano, what she was doing in the CS scene, was it Vilga too? I mean, those girls have been doing tremendous things and being covered every now and again. If you look currently, I believe Furia, the female Furia roster, has been doing tremendous things in the Counter-Strike space and getting covered in the news for doing so, making headlines for their great accomplishments. Valorant needs that, and I would love to see that. So hopefully this won't taint that image at all. And I'm hoping, I don't know what's going to come of this, but I'm hoping for the best. That's all I got to say. And wherever MeL does get placed, if she does go somewhere else, I'm rooting for her. And it's going to be cool to see and fun to watch. What do you guys think? Till next time, let's ease it out. All right, everyone, drink your water and coffee, just hydrate yourselves, and we'll see what's next on this story. Till next time, take care. Okay, bye.